All right, hi you guys. I'm going to be doing a video here on how to do templates in InstaNet. So obviously, when you have your Rain ID, all that good stuff, you want to go into Rain, log in, click InstaNet Solutions, which will pull up this right here. So once you're in here, how you want to create your templates is by going to these little gear button, clicking Setup, which is Setup. You click that, then you're going to hit Transaction Templates. So in here, that's where you'll start creating your templates. So you go to the add button and you'll create it. You can name it. As you saw on the other screen, I named mine's buyer packet and listing packet. So you got to do one at a time. So let's start with the buyer packet. Just name it whatever you want to. And then, so if it's a buyer, you're going to name it residential sale. If you're doing listing, then you're going to do residential listing. And if you want a description right there, you can do that, or you don't have to. So you can hit save. And now here you are in the transaction template. And so from here is really simple. You're just going to scroll down, go to forms. Right now it says empty, so no forms are in there. But you're going to start adding your forms one by clicking the add forms button. So from here, I'll give you the list. So all you do is just start adding every single document that you need for a buyer's packet. So first one you definitely would want is the purchase agreement. So you can start typing that right in here. Which is standard purchase agreement, what I'm talking about. So you can type in, as you see, you'll pull up everything that starts with purchase. Or if I did standard, then it pulls up everything that starts with standard. I think you can also do it by the code name. So let's see. Standard purchase agreement. It's PA. So if I typed in PA, no, it didn't come up. So yeah, just type it in. You want to type just in the name of the actual document. I guess it eventually pulls up PA, but as you saw, it had more stuff in there. So just start typing the name of the document that you want to add in there. So if standard purchase agreement, I select that, and then you see that it added into the bucket. So if you can continue to just add all your stuff that you need, so like brokerage fee agreement, definitely want that. That's how we get paid. So you're gonna look for the COM1, and I think I spelled it wrong. It's selling firm brokerage fee notice. So I select that, and then boom, add it into my bucket. Then I can go and add another one. You're gonna need your PICA, property inspection. There you go. So we got our PICA. And you see right here that it added two. This is just saying that it's in two different folders. So it's gonna only add that one, but it's just showing you that it's in all RAIN forms, or you can find this form also in the purchase folder of InstaNet. Also want to add my PICRA, the property inspection contingency removal addendum for when we are finished with our home inspection. So I'll go ahead and click that as well. And as you see, it added that as well in there. So you'll keep doing this until you add all your documents that you need. So once you're finished with that, then you can click add, and they'll add all of the documents that we started typing in there. So it takes us back to this sheet under forms. So you see, boom, I have all my documents here, and you continue to add all the documents that you actually need. After you do that, you're going to want to also add in your documents like your Chantel Ray disclosures, your buyer broker. So sometimes you may have somebody who's like, not in the area. You can't actually meet up with them to sign it wet signatures. So you may want to do digital signatures. So I like to add in my templates these documents as well. So you just hit the plus sign, add a document. You're going to want to make sure that these documents are already saved onto your desktop somewhere. So once you click that, you can add it. So drag and drop files here to click to upload. So I'm going to select that right there, and it's in here somewhere on my computer. Buyer representation right there. So I'll go ahead and this is my buyer broker. I saved it, so I open that. It's opening up. So now, boom, I have my buyer broker in my template so that anytime I have a client, I can send it to them digitally as well. And you can go ahead and add any of your Chantel Ray disclosures. You can add your client info form, all that good stuff in your template, so that way when you're ready to write an offer, you already have all the documents that you need here. So after you finish adding every single document that you need, um, it'll be all saved already. So next thing you would want to do is start going into these documents and adding any information that, pretty much stays the same. So what I do is I just go one by one each document. I want to make sure that I want to take care of anything that will be redundant on every single offer. So for example, in every single transaction that you have, scroll back up top, you already know the selling firm is going to be yourself. So I go ahead and add Chantel Ray Real Estate, right? Then I'm going to go ahead and add our MLS ID this is for Chesapeake office, 117702. And then the listing firm is always going to change, so I don't want to put anything in there. I like to put in by check usually, because I usually tell my clients to always do a check rather than something else. It's just easy to track. And I put in Chantel Ray right here as the escrow agent. Chantel Ray Real Estate. And now this is just, like I said, this is your templates that you're making, but it may change based off of the particular offer. So if you have an offer where you need to submit your EMD to like a different company, then obviously on that template or on that offer you would change it. But most of the time it's going to be to Chantel Ray Real Estate. So I just leave that in my template to save me some time as well. Then I scroll down, and then the settlement settlement expenses. There's the language that we like to keep in here. So I like to have this in my template so that way it's always here. I leave it blank as far as the percentage right here, because each buyer is going to have a different percentage of closing costs that they're going to need. So again, you get back out to the lender that's on this file with you and ask them, okay, how much closing costs does my buyer need? And you make sure your buyer is in agreement with that, and then you fill that in when you have the actual offer. But you at least want that language in there so you don't have to keep writing it in every single time. So then you just keep going in there into this document and you fill out like intent to occupy. I usually check that because most of the buyers I'm working with are owner occupants. But you'll go back and change that if you're like an investor who's not going to be keeping it. I usually check that the property is served by on-site septic system. The rest of the stuff in here that I'm skipping over is going to be dependent on, the actual offer and the buyer. Most of the sales, you definitely want to be prorated. So select that under number 10. Leave those blank because you never know what kind of offer you're getting, what kind of loan they're going to be using. I usually leave all this blank right here as well because this will be dependent on the buyer and the seller that we have. Usually this blank as well because you may be using septic system depending on the house. Leave all this blank as well. I usually check co-op because, rarely do we deal with co-ops here in Virginia. Property inspection, I always select desires. It'll change obviously if you have a investor who doesn't want to. But again, I'm just trying to save myself time. If I have a buyer that wants to submit an offer quickly, my template is ready to go. I just change it, add any information so that we can get the offer in quickly. I usually select two: listing firm and salesperson represent seller, selling firm and salesperson represent buyer. Most of the time that's what it is. Obviously if it's different, you'll need to change it. Keep scrolling down. And then right here, this is where I also add in information. So I'm going to go ahead and put my name because my name's not going to change. I'm going to go ahead and put Chantel Ray in there. I'm going to put our address in there also. Volvo Parkway. Right? And then I'm going to go ahead and put my license number in here as well. I don't actually know it, but something like that. So again, this is going to be saved so that way I don't have to worry about putting it in every single time I write an offer. All right, is that right? Okay, so this is license number of the actual firm. So make sure I'll type that into the document that I have to make sure you guys all have it. But then right here, this is where your license number goes. Oops. And this is your personal Virginia license number. Don't copy this because this is not right. This is the Chantel Ray Real Estate license number right here, selling firm license number. So you put the firm's license number here, and then you put your personal license number in here. All right. So after you're finished doing putting all those types in there, all that information, then you want to make sure you hit File, Save, and Save, because that's the way it will make sure that it's saved, and that way it's saved in your template, and again, save you time so that next time you come back in here and you're writing an offer, you don't have to add all that additional information. Once you hit Save, then you can just click the back button, and it'll take you right back into the transaction template, and you can go on and fill out the next sheet. So you're going to keep doing this until all the information that you know will stay the same is already filled out. So like listing, selling firm on the buyer side will always be myself. Right, and then my name. So I'm going to save that as well. File, save, and save. Now that form in my template is saved, and it has my information in there. All right, so after you do all that, then everything for this buyer's packet that I just created is now finished. So you'll be able to go back into setup, go back into your transaction template, and it should be saved right there. So I created two because I was just showing you guys, but I'm going to link this one later on. But that's pretty much how it works. After you create that, see if I can move this a little bit. This is the side where, I don't know if you guys saw it the first time, but this is where you click to get into the transaction template. Now, say you are going to actually start using it now. So if you go to home page, you want to create, go to this little dashboard. You can create a transaction. Say you're about to write an offer. So I say like my client's name, Nicole Barnwell offer. Then my template should be right there. I select that buyer packet that I just created. And then this is if you want to import information. So say it's already listed on the market, then I'll select RAIN, and I can put the MLS number so that it can also pull some of that information in from the listing so that I won't be doing double work. And then you just create it. I'm going to uncheck this at this moment, but you can do that. Hit create. Then what that did is it pulled all the forms from my templates, and boom, they're right there in there for you. When you go to click it, it already has that pre-dated information that we were talking about and we filled out. And now all you got to do for your offer is fill out the rest of the information so that you can send it to the listing agent. All right, well, that's all I have for you guys. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, let me know.